Okay. All right. I think we are good to go. So thanks everybody for joining. This is Venture Cafe Live. This is an interview series where we bring together all the different innovators in the St. Louis ecosystem, whether expats, transplants, or locals to the area who are building up programs and initiatives, startups, nonprofits to benefit the St. Louis region and help grow entrepreneurship in our area as well. Today, I'm really excited to have with us Brian Dixon, who is the COO of Capital Innovators. And he has been responsible for, and actually is around with the organization, I believe, since its inception, or at least from very early on. And he's going to share with us today a little bit about what Capital Innovators does, and then also jump into the new program that they're launching with this Geospatial Accelerator. So Brian is he's an expert in the space and probably also has the best hair in all of the St. Louis startup ecosystem. So without further ado, Brian, thanks so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
So to kick things off, could you explain just a little bit about what Capital Innovators is doing in the startups ecosystem here in St. Louis?
Yeah, absolutely. So Capital Innovators has three core divisions of our business model. We run 13-week accelerator programs focused in a variety of different technology verticals. We do venture capital investing. So the venture funds that we manage are what funds our accelerator investments. And we also do Series A investing, where our check sizes range from $500,000 to $1 million investments. And then we also do a lot around corporate innovation. So helping larger companies find out new and innovative solutions that can help with problem sets that they have and can create solutions for not only their organizations, but maybe the customers they serve to become more cutting edge. And through that process with our corporate programs, it allows the employees of the corporate to engage very closely with startups so they can really re-architect their internal culture towards innovation.
And you guys just had a pretty significant success story recently with the exit of Gainsight, who is, I believe that was part of the first cohort of Capital Innovators. Is that right?
It's correct. So Gainsight went through our very first Capital Innovators program, and Capital Innovators was actually the first outside investment that Gainsight took, aside from what the founders had funded the company with themselves. And they were just acquired for $1.1 billion by Vista Partners. They had a majority interest in their business acquired. And it's really exciting to see companies reach that level of success after starting the foundation of the business through Capital Innovators.
And I don't want to get too much onto a tangent here, but is that the first unicorn to come out of the St. Louis startup ecosystem that we know of?
It's the first to come out of our program. I'm not sure if it's the first one to come out of the St. Louis startup ecosystem. I know Answers.com was up there some years back. I'm not sure if it made it to a full billion, but it was close. And there may be some life science companies, but I think in terms of technology startups, that one may have been the first big one, at least recently in the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah. I would. Yeah. For technology in the startup world as we know it today. But yeah, I think you're right. Answers was pretty close. So let's actually just jump into the new program that you guys have launched. Can you explain a little bit about the the Geospatial Accelerator, why you started this, why this is important, why now, and what you hope to see come out of this program?
Absolutely. So, St. Louis is really growing quickly in the geospatial space. Obviously, NGA is building this $1.75 billion headquarters in downtown St. Louis, and the universities are really coming together. The venture firms are coming together. The real estate partners are coming together, and the community is working really, really well to help St. Louis evolve this landscape for geospatial intelligence in the future. And Capital Innovators was selected in partnership with the Missouri Technology Corporation and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, or NGA, to operate a geospatial intelligence focused program. And so we're thrilled that we're going to be able to do that and really help build this next foundational component to the innovation ecosystem in St. Louis focused around geospatial. And the program that we're going to be operating for them is going to source unique technologies specific to problem sets that NGA is facing and that can also serve their customer needs. And we are going to be looking to select up to 8 startup companies to participate in a 13-week program. And each of these companies will get $100,000 in non-dilutive grant funding. So we're excited about that because I think it'll really open up the door for the types of companies that'll be interested, because they're not going to have to give away any equity in their business. In addition to that, they're going to get over $1 million worth of perks and benefits through partnerships that Capital Innovators has. So that could be things like accounting perks, marketing perks, a variety of different free or dramatically reduced cost software perks through the different partnerships we've developed over the years. And they're going to be ran through the traditional Capital Innovators corporate accelerator model, where each of these early stage companies will get paired with what we call a lead mentor that acts as a co-CEO with the startup team and works very closely with them on a weekly basis to help them scale their operation and train them to become better entrepreneurs. And most valuably with this program, they're going to get direct engagement with NGA. So each of the startups that we will bring into the program will have the opportunity to meet weekly with NGA champion teams. And what that is, that'll be a group of employees from NGA that have the most relevant experience to that particular startup company that is going to provide feedback on their technology, feedback on selling into the government, feedback on government grant opportunities and research opportunities. Capital Innovators is also going to be working with universities to bring in those research and grant opportunities to the startup companies, and really just provide unparalleled knowledge and wisdom for these companies in the geospatial space that can bring these solutions to the government. And for the types of companies we're looking for businesses that have novel dual use technology. And what that means is they have commercial application and they also have government application. And if some of these solutions turn out to be really, really good, the NGA would consider pilot opportunities with these companies in the future. And some of the core technology themes we're going to be looking for is technology around big data, data management, data authentication, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, natural language processing, a variety of different things that can solve different problem sets. And these will all be publicly available for people to explore once we launch applications in the near future. But at the end of the day, we're casting a very broad net because we want to see a lot of different kinds of geospatial technologies to see how those could provide value to the NGA.
Got it. So I definitely want to jump into a little bit about the types of what that means when you say geospatial. I think a lot of times people are thinking specifically NGA. But before we do that, did I hear correctly? Did you say it was $100,000 of non-dilutive equity?
Correct. It's going to be a grant.
So that's interesting to me. That's great. So that'll be the first time that you guys have done that type of scenario with startups. Is that right?
Correct. With our traditional accelerator programs and venture funds and the other corporate accelerators that we've ran before, it's always been investment based. So we've worked out some type of negotiation with the equity that the startups would provide for the investment. This will be the first time we'll be running a grant program.
So can you share a little bit about why a grant program as opposed to a traditional accelerator model for this industry in particular?
Sure. So one of the reasons is because the government can't make investments like a private corporation could. And another reason as well is we think through a grant funding mechanism, we will be able to cast a much broader net in terms of the types of companies that would be interested. And it may not just be very early stage companies. We could have some more mature companies that want to get that access and engagement with NGA. And by doing it from a grant perspective, they don't have to worry about providing equity if maybe their valuation's a little bit higher than what they want, and that will give them the opportunity to have that same engagement.
Got it. All right, that makes plenty of sense. So I think, can you help now unpack a little bit about, you mentioned that some of the types of companies, you said big data, et cetera. When you say geospatial, can you share a little bit more about what that entails and how for some of those other categories, how they tangentially relate to geospatial in general? So what kind of companies are you looking for in a broad sense?
Yeah, so we're going to be very broad with the technology themes that we're looking for. And when we say novel dual use, there's a lot of different ways to look at that from a commercial and government perspective. So I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a company out there that has a really unique technology that helps them analyze data from satellite imagery for precision agriculture. And maybe in the agriculture space, they're using it so that farmers can better predict the yields that they're going to have on crops. That same kind of technology could be rather valuable to the NGA and the government sector as well in the way they're analyzing the data in the satellite imagery. It could maybe help them model planet Earth better and crunch data in a new and unique way that they're not doing right now. So that would be an example of something that'd be a novel dual use technology. And geospatial intelligence right now, I mean, it's growing to what is projected to be probably a $550 billion market over the next 5 to 7 years. And it's what's being called a horizontal innovation. So it's applying across all sorts of industries, not just the government sector, but a variety of different types of industries will be leveraging geospatial intelligence. A most basic example is anytime you flag Uber and it drops the pin and the car comes and picks you up, that's geospatial intelligence that allowed that to happen, right? That satellite had to drop a pin for your location. And sometimes people have ran into the problem where the pin drops and it's 3 blocks away, right? And you have to go walk down. Refinements in geospatial intelligence will make that proximity closer and make it more intelligent. So the types of things that we're going to be looking for, there's a lot around like the fitness of data. There's some big data needs, things around better mapping and modeling of planet Earth, and solutions that are providing what's called assured position, navigation, and timing, or assured P&T. So innovations in that space. And innovations around GPS, global navigation, satellite systems, a lot around cybersecurity, so we can better protect this, because a lot of this data is very sensitive and we want to ensure that it's protected from vulnerabilities. And a lot around artificial intelligence as well. So things like, let's say you have satellites that are trying to identify buildings and you understand there's buildings there, but you don't necessarily know what kind of business is in that building. What if we could do things like target Yelp or Facebook or different platforms that are in social in nature that could tap into people tagging themselves or checking in on these particular businesses? And then you could extrapolate that data through the satellite imagery as well and connect it to understand that not only is this building located here, but that is a restaurant and this is what restaurant that is. So just really unique things where we can connect more data points together.
Gotcha. So it's not all, it won't all be defense related, but or will there be a defense related application in a lot of these? You
So
say
our
government,
goal,
so I didn't know. Yeah,
so our goal is to make sure it has a government application and a commercial application. It doesn't necessarily have to be a defense application. It can be much broader than that.
Gotcha. So when does the official application process begin for startups?
Sure. So tentatively, we are going to be launching applications next week, and that would be open for 6-week period of time, with the program targeted to start in late March.
Got it. And this will be available to just any startups in the U.S., not just in the St. Louis area. And did you mention the stage that you're looking for particularly?
So ideally, the companies would have a minimum viable product complete. If it's a little bit earlier than that, we'd still encourage you to apply. We'll take a look at it. But I think to really get the value out of the program, at a minimum, you would have that MVP complete. You'd be ready to take it to market, and then you would get a lot of value from being able to get that feedback from capital innovators, our mentors, and NGA as they refine that throughout the program.
Gotcha. So that's great. So it's some pretty early stage companies can apply then too, it sounds like. So before we, so the way this works generally for all those who are attending is we'll do the live session, and then for those of you who signed up to the website, we'll take the live stream off, and then we'll go into some Q&A with Brian, and that way you guys can get a little more detailed questions in there. But before we do that, I wanted to ask too, there's been a lot of really great news coming out of St. Louis recently, a lot of great exits, a lot of bigger funding rounds that we haven't really seen in a while. And then now this new program that's, St. Louis is now becoming this national kind of hub for geospatial. What are you excited about? Like, what does all of this kind of energy mean for you? And you've been here in the ecosystem for a while. So what do you think this means for St. Louis to have a program like this? And also just really just the types of energy we're seeing right now?
So why I think it's really unique is St. Louis for a long time has been known as this bio belt, right? And that's great. We've developed a really great reputation for that. But there's nothing else in terms of a technology specific vertical that we've been known as like #1 in the world for. And I really think in time, that's what St. Louis will become known for in the geospatial intelligence space, largely because we have NGA moving here. This NGA Accelerator program will provide great technologies and exposure around that. But all of the additional types of companies that are moving to St. Louis, whether it's government contractors or other types of startup companies that operate in this sector, they're moving here like crazy because they want to be able to operate as close as they can to the NGA. And it makes perfect sense, right? Like if there's the opportunity to do programs or pilots with an amazing government customer like that, you want to make sure that the location and proximity of your business is as close to them as possible. And so I think in time, it's going to be the opportunity for St. Louis to have this next level of what we can become known as the number one in, which is geospatial intelligence. And it's going to take some time to get there, but the foundation that we're seeing right now is starting to build up pretty quickly. And I think over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, we will really become the global epicenter for that particular kind of tech.
Gotcha. So, all right. Well, how do people find out about more about the Accelerator program? Where can they go?
Sure. So my recommendation would be if you go to Capital Innovators website, go under our startups tab at the top, and we have a drop down where you can go to NGA Accelerator updates. We're publishing all of the newest press hits that we have on the program where you can learn information. There's some information about the program there, and you can also sign up for the email list so that you'll get contacted immediately once the applications launch. And then once the applications launch, we'll have a new page that goes live that explains the program in much more depth.
Got it. All right. Well, with that, we're going to conclude the live stream. For all of you who are signed up through the website, we're going to now do some Q&A. So everyone of you watching us live, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, Thursday.